Trump erupts over new leaked group chat texts.
You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
Having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
with the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Right. Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective, I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
The political landscape was thrown into chaos as a series of leaked group chat messages sent shockwaves through Washington. The messages, allegedly from high-ranking government officials and advisors, contained conversations about classified military plans. President Trump, known for his fiery temperament and zero-tolerance policy on disloyalty, erupted in disappointment and will no doubt vow to hunt down the traitors who had allowed such damning texts to surface. The fallout was immediate, as Trump's allies scrambled to contain the damage, while his opponents seized the opportunity to further divide the Republican Party. The leaked Signal chat involving Trump administration officials has reignited debates over the handling of classified information, drawing parallels to past high-profile leaks in U.S. political history. Critics have been swift to point out the irony, as Trump and his allies consistently advocated for severe punishments against leakers and whistleblowers. Now, members of his own administration are under scrutiny for their role in mishandling sensitive military discussions.
Well, Goldberg says he received highly sensitive information about weapons, targets, even the timing of an attack that was supposed to take place on March 15th. While a White House spokesperson says that the messages do appear to be authentic, and it's now reviewing how the inadvertent number was added to the chain.
One of the central figures in the leaked chat was National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who strongly pushed for military intervention, arguing that the U.S. needed to act decisively. In contrast, Vice President J.D. Vance reportedly urged caution, warning that attacking the Houthis could further destabilize the Middle East. But the most explosive revelation? A message, allegedly from a senior aide, stating that Trump had already given the green light for strikes, exposing the administration's plans before any official announcement. When The Atlantic broke the story, it spread rapidly, igniting a political firestorm. The White House was forced into immediate damage control. A National Security Council spokesperson confirmed the leak's authenticity, explaining that an inadvertent number was added to the chain, but downplaying its significance. However, the damage was already done. The revelation sparked outrage, not just from political opponents, but also from national security experts alarmed by the breach's recklessness. Suddenly, the administration found itself under intense scrutiny, facing accusations of carelessness and hypocrisy. Critics pointed out that Trump and his allies had long condemned leaks. Yet now, his own team had exposed sensitive military plans through a careless mistake. As soon as the leaks went public, Trump's as well as his supporters' social media platforms exploded with furious messages condemning what he called a deep state conspiracy, a coordinated effort by the president's team quickly shifted into crisis mode, with key advisors trying to control the narrative while dealing with the internal panic.
I picture there at the White House as still so many are reeling and grappling with how to respond to this major bombshell in The Atlantic magazine by their editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, who was inadvertently included on some of these group messages from the messaging app Signal, which, might we add, is encrypted, but nonetheless, he was accidentally included on that while the national security team, to the likes of Secretary of Defense Hegseth, Vice President Vance, National Security Advisor Waltz, and others were discussing some of the operational plans ahead of some of these U.S. strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen here.
Trump will no doubt hold an emergency meeting with his closest confidants, demanding to know who leaked the texts and how such a massive betrayal could have happened. Sources close to the situation describe the atmosphere as tense and hostile, but Trump hasn't lashed out at advisors, threatening purges, or insisting that loyalty tests would be enforced for anyone seeking a role in his administration. He has instead shown support for them. His political machine, which thrives on unwavering devotion, was now at risk of imploding under the weight of internal suspicions. While Trump's reaction was predictable in its intensity, the content of the leaked messages was what truly shook the Republican establishment. According to the Wall Street Journal, The Guardian, and other noteworthy news sites, these discussions occurred over the encrypted messaging app Signal, a popular platform known for its privacy features. However, in this case, privacy was compromised when Goldberg was mistakenly added to the group. The chats reportedly spanned topics relating to Yemen and involved officials debating whether to carry out airstrikes, discussing weaponry, targets, and possible retaliation scenarios.
In a letter to President Trump tonight, Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries says Hegseth acted recklessly and casually when he discussed explicit details of sensitive war plans in a group chat that included a journalist. His behavior shocks the conscience, risked American lives, and likely violated the law.
The media frenzy was immediate, with both conservative and liberal outlets capitalizing on the chaos. Right-wing networks like Fox News and Newsmax took different approaches. Some hosts downplayed the significance of the texts, insisting it was simply a mistake, while others took a more aggressive stance, urging Trump to purge the party of disloyal elements. Meanwhile, liberal media outlets saw the leak as confirmation that the Trump administration is incompetent. The response from Trump's base was both predictable and explosive. His most devoted supporters dismissed the leaks as fabrications, a political hit job, and another attempt by the media and deep state to take him down. Social media platforms were flooded with outrage, with MAGA loyalists attacking anyone mentioned in the texts, demanding primary challenges against perceived traitors, and pledging unwavering support for Trump regardless of any controversy. Despite the overwhelming support from his base, Trump understood that the leak posed a serious threat to his administration. The Republican Party had always been divided between Trump loyalists and establishment conservatives, but the texts confirmed fears that maybe someone within his own ranks was working against him. Behind the scenes, Trump's team launched an internal investigation, determined to identify the problem and neutralize the threat. Speculation ran wild within political circles. Some believed the whole thing was the work of a disgruntled staffer, while others suspected rival Republican candidates hoping to weaken Trump. At the same time, Trump's allies in Congress and conservative media took a more offensive approach, demanding revenge against those responsible for the mistake. Some called for full-scale investigations, while others urged Trump to cleanse the party of anyone who even hinted at disloyalty. In an age of heightened cybersecurity concerns and intense scrutiny over intelligence leaks, this incident underscores the dangers of discussing sensitive military operations on unofficial channels. The irony hasn't gone unnoticed. Trump and his administration were known for their tough stance against leaks, pledging to crack down on whistleblowers and those who mishandled classified information. Now, officials from that very administration find themselves embroiled in controversy over their own security missteps.
How were those details shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
That's it.
On the global stage, the leak could have serious repercussions. The casual discussion of strikes against Yemen's Houthi militants in a group chat raises concerns about a lack of formality that could weaken U.S. diplomatic efforts in the region. Foreign adversaries might see this as a sign of internal disarray within American leadership, while allies may question Washington's ability to safeguard its military strategies. At a time of escalating cybersecurity threats and heightened global tensions, the U.S. cannot afford to have its national security decisions compromised by preventable mistakes. For Trump, loyalty is everything, and he would not allow this scandal to go unpunished. He'll begin rallying his supporters, holding meetings with Republican officials, and planning a major public appearance where he could reassert his dominance over the party. His advisors knew that if Trump could turn this into a rallying cry, just like he did with the assassination attempt, he could actually emerge stronger from the controversy, proving once again that every attack against him only fuels his movement. The leaked chat involving Trump officials has sparked debates not only about national security, but also about the communication culture within political administrations. Beyond the immediate embarrassment of exposing internal discussions, this incident could have lasting impacts on public trust, foreign policy, and even Trump's potential political future. How many other sensitive conversations have occurred on unsecured platforms without coming to light? If a single mistaken chat invitation could inadvertently expose U.S. military plans, what other vulnerabilities might be lurking beneath the surface? Still, Trump remained undeterred, refusing to acknowledge any weakness. He doubled down, insisting that the leak was proof that the establishment was afraid of him and that only he had the strength to drain the swamp once and for all. His base responded as expected by rallying around him even more fiercely, dismissing the scandal as a desperate attempt to derail his momentum. As the days passed, the Republican Party found itself at a crossroads. Would they continue following Trump despite the growing fractures within the party? Or would the leak embolden challengers to step forward and push for something else? Trump's response would be critical in determining the future of his tenure. Regardless of the outcome, one thing was clear: Trump was not going down without a fight. If anything, the leak had only strengthened his resolve, setting the stage for an even more explosive battle within the Republican Party. The fallout from the leaked group chat messages was far from over. While Trump and his inner circle scrambled to contain the damage, the political world watched as Republican leaders struggled to navigate the crisis. Those implicated in the leaks found themselves in an impossible situation. Many of those named in the leaks chose silence, hoping to ride out the storm without drawing further attention to themselves. But for Trump, silence was not an option. To him, not defending him outright was just as bad as betrayal. But even as Trump raged, there was an undercurrent of political maneuvering behind the scenes. The leaked texts had not just exposed important information, they had also emboldened Trump's rivals. Beyond its military ramifications, Democrats seized on the scandal as a potent political weapon against Trump. With the 2025 political landscape already intensifying, the leak reinforced claims that his administration was marked by chaos and negligence. Some lawmakers even floated the possibility of legal consequences, arguing that the unauthorized disclosure of military plans could constitute a violation of federal security laws. Senator Elizabeth Warren demanded an immediate congressional hearing, while Representative Adam Schiff, a longtime Trump critic, urged the Justice Department to launch an investigation. "We need accountability," Schiff asserted. "This isn't a reality show. This is national security."
My colleagues and I feel very strongly about the war planning meeting over unclassified phones. Obviously reckless, obviously dangerous. Both the mishandling of classified information and the deliberate destruction of federal records are potential crimes that ought to be investigated immediately. And I want to make clear that I'm of the view that there ought to be resignation, starting with the National Security Advisor and the Secretary of Defense.
Meanwhile, Trump's inner circle was growing more paranoid by the day. The identity of the leaker is known, but how it happened is yet to be discovered, and the uncertainty is definitely eating away at Trump's trust in his advisors. We could even see the president begin demanding loyalty oaths from those closest to him, warning that any further leaks would be met with immediate exile from his political empire. Longtime allies could find themselves walking on eggshells, terrified of saying the wrong thing and finding themselves on Trump's ever-growing enemies list. This was perhaps the most dangerous consequence of the leak, not just the embarrassment it had caused, but the fact that it had revealed just how fragile Trump's people treated their jobs. While he remained undeniably popular with the base, the leaks had given moderate Republicans an opening to argue that sticking with Trump was a losing strategy. As the scandal drags on, Trump may decide to go on the attack in a different way, by arguing that the strikes mentioned were justified due to the Houthis' repeated attacks on U.S. and allied ships in the Red Sea. The administration has emphasized that the Houthis, backed by Iran, have targeted American military and commercial vessels, endangering global trade and regional stability. But Trump also made a strategic shift. Instead of simply raging against the leaks, he supported his cabinet and roasted the newspaper for claiming the leaks. As the question was asked, he looked totally unbothered and unimpressed, pressing that everything was under control and even calling the strikes a success. Instead of focusing on the leaks, the media is now talking about Trump's ability to turn a crisis into a show of strength. His supporters, once anxious about the scandal, were now more fired up than ever, convinced that the attacks on Trump only proved how much the establishment feared him. But while Trump celebrated his short-term victory, The reality was that the leaks had done real damage. Inside the Republican Party, the fractures will no doubt have deepened. Some members are now openly discussing the topic of incompetence, worried that his constant battles were dragging the administration down. Others, particularly those up for re-election in swing districts, began distancing themselves, knowing that Trump's volatility could cost them. This controversy emerges at a pivotal moment for Trump, who has already faced criticism from both domestic and international figures over his handling of foreign policy. With the 2024 election still fresh in public memory, Democrats view the scandal as a chance to reinforce the narrative that he is reckless and irresponsible when it comes to military decision-making. Meanwhile, Trump's allies have scrambled to downplay the significance of the leak, arguing that it is yet another politically motivated attack designed to weaken his influence and derail his potential political comeback. However, the implications of this leak extend beyond mere partisan battles. The exposure of private discussions regarding military operations raises serious concerns about the security protocols followed by high-ranking officials. If such sensitive information could be so easily compromised, it begs the question of what other classified matters may have been similarly mishandled. National security experts warn that even the perception of lax information security could embolden foreign adversaries, erode trust among allies, and weaken the U.S.'s strategic positioning on the world stage. For Trump's opponents, the leak represents more than just an embarrassment. It is an opportunity to push for accountability.
Ambassador, Donald Trump insisted that no classified information was shared, there was no war plan shared. Does that still wash after these new messages?
No, I don't think it does. I think clearly the kind of information that was disclosed both by Michael Waltz and by Pete Hegseth in these latest revelations by The Atlantic, if they fell into the hands of an American adversary, would be extremely dangerous for American forces about to enter into combat. And the whole definitional structure of classified information is the amount of harm it would cause to the United States, varying amounts of harm for various levels of classification. There's simply no doubt with this information that we've seen that potential harm to American forces was real, and that makes it classified, and that makes its release in a non-classified channel a serious matter.
Some lawmakers have already called for formal investigations, while others suggest that the unauthorized disclosure of military plans could warrant legal action under federal security laws. The potential fallout from these revelations could extend well beyond Trump himself, affecting members of his administration and their future political prospects. Ultimately, the exposure of these private messages has added yet another layer of turbulence to an already volatile political landscape. Whether this leads to concrete legal consequences or remains a momentary scandal in the broader political narrative is yet to be seen. But one thing is certain: this latest controversy has further deepened the divide between Trump's supporters and his staunchest critics, ensuring that the debate over national security and political responsibility will remain a dominant issue in the months to come. Thank you for tuning in to today's news update. If you found this report helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a breaking story. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to drop a comment below. And don't forget to share this update with friends and family who want to stay informed. Until next time, stay safe and stay updated.